can hear what you're saying.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Typically, you'll see the person's square will have a line, like a light up around it.
Okay.
Usually.
Just now I've lost everybody except the few along the top, and there's a great big one in the middle.
That's normal.
They're in the spotlight now.
There.
Oops. Looks like there's 37 participants.
Yep.
Hi, everyone.
Uh-oh, I see Justin has really bad bandwidth, and so the focus isn't going to be good. I don't know how to fix it.
Is it what? You can't see it good?
It's kind of blurry.
It's blurry.
I don't think there's going to be
It
anything.
might just come and go.
Yeah. It's clear as a, we're very clear for us. Yeah.
Okay, who is the moderator?
Julie Poole.
Okay, Julie's gonna give me instructions, right?
Okay, I'm just gonna let you have the floor as if we were all just sitting there in your house. So you just do what it is you're gonna do, stack them, talk about them, and then if people want to add in, they can unmute and add in.
Okay, we'll start stacking, and you guys can talk. We just volunteered this litter. I mean, I'll be glad to chime in and give an opinion too, but we just.
Well, you can start it
Yeah,
off.
yeah, I can start it off. We'll start off with.
Who are the parents?
Cheslie can fill in the pedigree.
There's 37.
Oh,
Okay, so it's a litter of 6, and there's 5 boys and 1 girl, and they're sired by a Lord of the Rings son out of Oscar daughter, the Night Flyer dog.
And how old?
They were born at the
There'll
very
be
end
9
of
weeks
February.
on the first.
So,
And we're not keeping any of these, so maybe we could do this again in about 8 weeks, and we'll have something that we are keeping.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'll start stacking the first. We'll do all the boys, the 5 boys first, and then the girl last, the 1 girl last.
Okay.
And if we need to move the screen closer, we can do. You guys can give me some feedback on if the
his
puppy.
feet are chopped off.
See it.
I can see all of them.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Here you go. That's good.
That's
Whoop, that's a little, whoop, that's a little too. What about there, Joe?
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Okay. All right. And they're not, they're not really trained to be. They haven't been stacked that much, but here's one side. This boy.
They're how old again?
It'll be 9 weeks on the first.
Okay, thank you.
Cheslie's gonna bring another one in. If we have them all in here at once, they're just screaming and yelling as you are all well.
He's lovely.
He's beautiful.
He's kind of thick in here, but I think he's got a pretty body.
Yeah, that's a nice start.
Yeah, he's the conformation's good. He's a little. I think this is on a little coarse, but he is a handsome, good-legged dog. He's kind of a soft, low ear, though. I'll see if I can get him to.
Oh.
Nice.
Pretty. I like them.
He's the biggest by 2 pounds, probably of the. What are we waiting?
He has a pretty face.
Yeah, gorgeous pigment.
Nice.
And if you guys can say anything you want, you're not going to offend or hurt our feelings in the least.
Hey, Justin, how wide is he in his shoulder blades?
He's really nice there. I think they're a little bit up, but they're very in.
Okay.
Very in.
His width, the chest in the front, and then how you talked about him being a little thicker in the neck made me wonder what
I'm a little, from me, I think he's a very pretty puppy. I'm concerned that he might be a real blown open kind of dog as an adult because he's so much at 9 weeks.
Right.
But I love his little hawk. His tail sets good. He's a good looking puppy. Anyone on this one?
I'd like to comment on him if I can, Karen Lee.
Let's have an expert, Karen.
I'm not an expert, I'm just saying. It's interesting in this dog in context of a thread I saw earlier today on the Canine Construction and Confirmation Facebook page.
Yeah.
Somebody posted a bunch of pictures of Whippets from outside the United States with regard to neck.
Yeah.
And what I would say about this puppy is that this would be an absolutely top flight prospect, perhaps in Europe, for example, where they don't put as much emphasis on the length of the neck and the flow of the neck into head as they do here. I love his body. I love his quarters. He's obviously finishable. But I would agree with actually your assessment 100%. For me, that dog with the length of his head, I would want to see a longer neck for the United States and Canada. But he is a really nice quality puppy. And I think that your set is a little low, but you know, that's better than them being up on top of the head and flying any day. So that's my overall.
And I don't think he has a beautiful face.
It's not an unattractive head. It's just not a. To me, it's not a classic beauty, but it's kind of a handsome face. He can have maybe. It's hard.
The focus isn't clear enough for fine detail like that. All we see is the beautiful eyes and that he looks like he has good underjaw.
Well, I can see that in the camera. That if he looked like that face that I'm seeing on that, I would think it was better. But
Karen, would you find that you'd like a little more leg?
No.
Not me personally. Certainly someone else, but personally, I would not be interested in any more leg on this particular puppy.
No.
He has a short neck.
I'm kind of seeing them sort of anew again today. I haven't stacked them really in about 2 weeks. So, anyway, anybody else want to comment on this?
He doesn't necessarily have a short neck if he had that little bit more layback.
Maybe.
Justin likes a really long neck.
A dog, and even if they have more layback, if it didn't have to me, this length of neck, even say his neck was even a little bit longer, you can tell he's a thick, kind of chunky dog, and he will maintain that, I'm sure. So that is not going to be a pretty neck as a 3-year-old, like a dog that's a little bit more refined there at this age.
He's got a lot of bulk in the front.
Yes, he's very.
If the neck was longer, it would make more balance with the bulk in the front.
Yeah, I agree completely.
He'll win a lot from puppy class.
Yep.
Or win a lot of treats on somebody's couch. Okay, now we're gonna do. Is this the smallest male? We're going from the biggest to the smallest.
I don't think.
Does he have all his parts?
Oh, I haven't even looked lately. I think he does. All right, this is the most refined of the boys. Black Mass Fawn. Is he close enough to the camera, or should he be close?
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving farther away.
I like the other one
It
better.
looks like he has a shorter neck.
He's got a lot of bulk in the front too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like the other one better.
His rear legs are too short.
He's very high stationed in the front.
Well, I mean, he's my favorite color, of course. I mean,
Yeah, beautiful.
balanced. He's too straight in the front for the amount of angulation he has in the rear, and that's why his pelvis is so much lower than the top of his shoulder.
Right.
He really got a classic Italian Greyhound shape. Very high.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Kind of if he were a different breed, he might be decent. Well, I could make him a dual champion.
He's got a sweet face.
No, he doesn't.
No, he really doesn't.
sweet dog, but other than that,
Well, a lot of that black will clear out too. But
Hey, Justin,
yes.
how do you find this? His top line is so different from the other one. How do you find their top line changes over time when from looking at puppy pictures to when they're an adult? It's not like a shoulder angle that the shoulder angle always gets wider. The top line, how do those develop?
To me, if they have a lot of shape at this age, they're going to be like a
Awful.
Calvin Perry
too
used to
much.
say, a monkey humping a football by the time they're grown. Great description. It's just too, to me,
Better.
with my dogs, I don't like that extreme.
Like, I think this is distorting it a little bit.
No, it's not.
Oof.
I don't know.
This is really a nice IG shape, though.
His pastern is more upright than the other puppies too.
Yeah.
Almost buckling.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost going all the way. All right, have we seen enough of this beauty?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes, don't let them
Okay. Anybody else have any more questions on this one that they'd like to ask the group? Comment? I mean, to me, I really don't see anything redeeming.
Mm.
The other puppy was so much better, I thought.
Okay. Oh, I hope we have middle.
Yeah, baby. Ooh, this is gonna be scary.
Okay, here's a little. Oh, tinkle. Hold on.
Really scared.
Little stage fright.
It was the camera.
Yes. All right, baby boy. Any more in there? They had a bath before the big appearance, so they like to go to the bathroom after they've had a bath. All right. Now, when they were little, really little, I quite liked this one. I've fallen out of love, but
I'm liking this guy.
when they were younger, I did.
Very
quite-
showy
Oh,
looking.
but look at his neck.
He's pretty.
Now his
And that-
shoulder set is as nice as the first.
What was that? I'm sorry.
His shoulder set, like his
His shoulders are a little wider, but they're further back than the big dog.
right.
This one is suffering a little bit more from rigor mortis than the other one. I'm having a little harder time getting not to just get carried in on it.
Now we are back in the USA.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like the other two.
That patch on his shoulder just makes him look gorgeous.
Yeah, his shoulders are a bit wide, I think, but they're very pretty.
No, turn him back around. Don't show us this side. Show the other.
Unfolding hole in his back.
Marking on the neck marking. I would never turn this puppy around ever. Let it
Oh,
be.
but I don't know. This side looks just lovely too.
I know, but he's so pretty on the other side.
Except for that darn spot.
This
Mine
is
are always
terrible.
down on the judges
That's awful.
on the offside.
Yeah.
What are the off?
Okay, now I see what you mean.
You want to go call him?
Aw.
You've got stage
Look at
fright.
that face.
Pretty.
Stack him again so I can see.
Too slippery for him.
No, he's not slipping. He's just sort of a more excitable puppy. The other one is sort of big and whatever.
Dopey.
Dopey.
I like derpy boys.
Mm-hmm.
This one on the ground is like a greased lightning, just zipping around, and he's really hard to unfold.
Well, he is quite lovely when he relaxes his top line.
If he would quit crouching, he would be pretty.
Yeah.
Pretty on the ground.
He did a few times, and then he looked great.
Yeah, he looks
There you
good.
go.
Yeah.
There.
That's a great
Much
one.
more balanced than the other two.
Yes. And on the ground, you know, he's quite attractive. He's not that. It's pretty, you know, a little bit more rigid up here, but
Of course. He's less bulky in the neck, shoulder, chest area than the other two.
he's a little droopy.
A little, but maybe that's him being uncomfortable there.
Yeah, I do think it is, because whenever we've seen, you know, just having playing in the yard, he is
Yeah, I like him.
Does he have his pigment already all around that side, the white side on his eye?
What?
Pigment around the eye on the white side?
He does, except for very less than a quarter of an inch already, and he's only 9 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's a big,
Oh.
Yeah,
big band already as well, which is nice.
yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna have it.
Yeah, that'll make it.
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to, you know, everyone's taking the time to come together, so I don't want to rush through them. So if anybody wants to go back to anything, or
Maybe after we see we'll look at some of them again.
okay,
Or he relaxes. I just think the balance is there on this one. You know?
A couple weeks ago, he was
Really nice.
one of
I was
Justin's
high on
favorite
him.
puppy, but he's not really showing it on the camera.
Yeah.
You can just
I was
see.
high on him.
You can see with him.
You can see the qualities. He's really pretty.
Okay, let's see this baby boy. Come here. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. All right. Graham, I need you here stacking them.
Ooh,
Need a pro.
Where's
This button,
Graham?
Chess. I think they're over there. Hold on. We'll get Cheslie in front of him and go.
Aw.
Ooh.
You need to paint that marking better. He's pretty.
He's really pretty too.
Very
He's
pretty.
very
Yeah.
balanced.
he's on the ground. He's probably the most balanced and sound mover. He's real
He's a
easy
real
on
easy
his
go.
legs, and
I'm not loving these back legs. They're a little bit more. I think the hog and the second thigh don't really look that attractive.
But that changes a lot.
Longer tibia fibula.
Wow. Is he ever different from one side to the other?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, when you had him on the other side, my initial impression was I liked him the best of the four so far. But now that I see him on this side, it's more obvious that his muscling isn't carrying down very well towards the hock.
Right.
Back leg is not good.
Right.
Oh, when he pulls himself together, I like the overall look of this puppy a lot.
Of these four, if someone said you need to take one of these and make something of it, not as a breeding dog, but a show dog, this would be
As
my
a handler.
yeah.
Yeah.
This would be my pick 7. All I think he's backing up.
I 1000% see that, Justin.
But as a breeder, I'm not. This is.
I think they're looking kind of worse than they were.
Yeah, he's.
Like
he's going through. I mean, it's definitely showing itself as things. That's why you have to keep the ones that you like for a long time to know if they're any good. I do anyway. Because you can fall in love with one at 9 weeks, and then at 4 months you think it's a swamp nest monster.
Then at 4 months, we say bye.
He seems to have the best attitude of all of them so far too.
Yeah, they all have had. They all have good temperaments. This one definitely is a ballsy, outgoing.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're all pretty bold. They're just.
He's
not-
probably he's a and also you can't tell, well you might can tell, but feeling him, he's not as good in the shoulders as some of those other boys.
No, you can see his shoulder blade.
The show.
I don't like that shoulder.
He's a little more upright than Pastern, but I'm actually quite jealous that so far all of your puppies are better marked on the judge's side than the off side, which is my experience. I want to know,
Really?
how do you get that?
I place an order at 60 days.
That must be it.
I'll turn this one around and show his back leg. This is a very alert puppy.
Good job. Are you gonna turn him around
Turn him around.
to show his rear?
Oh yeah, I'll show you the back leg. You can see he's not even as comfortable as it's so, to me, as they get older, they lose even more angulation behind a lot of times. I don't know if that's other people's experience or not.
I think it's very variable.
You do? Well,
Sometimes they get more and sometimes they get less.
yeah.
My experience.
To me, this boy has really high hocks and his knees are high. Like his hocks are long and his knees are really high.
You're really faint, whoever that was that was speaking.
Sorry, I'm on my, it's Karen Lejeune.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so to me, his knees are really high and his hocks are really long. Like he's got a really long second thigh and a weirdly long, short upper thigh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really straight pasterns.
Yes, and straight shoulder.
Like Sue
He
and
wouldn't-
Karen, do you get how much attention do you pay to the pasterns at 9 weeks?
Not much.
Me. What about you, Karen?
I had
Karen Lee.
this is Karen Lee. Okay, go ahead, Karen.
If I have only one puppy in my litter and they're all eating the same, or two puppies in my litter, they're all eating the same food, and some are straight in the pastern and the rest are all fine there, I pay a lot of attention to that because that's usually a sign that that front is not going to be what I want. However, when you look at a dog like this is a dog that's probably going to, with great training, be able to throw a phenomenal looking free stack. So, what you have to say about as a handler versus a breeder, I think is very, very perceptive, Justin. This could be a very glamorous dog in the ring.
Puppy in our breeding program, but I think you could literally probably finish him in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I think he could be
So it's like,
he's very alert and he's attractive. He just has an attractive look.
Yes.
So with pasterns, if the whole litter is bolt upright and the parents have good pasterns, I would look at nutrition. If you just have a couple that are like that, I've never had great success with those puppies ever having the front end as an adult that I would consider to be ideal, but some of them manage to move relatively well on upright pasterns. There's dogs in our breed's history that are phenomenal producers that have this fault, so here you go.
And I find that I have them where some puppies in the litter have trouble with whatever the diet is and they're more upright in the pasterns, and then later they settle down and have beautiful pasterns. So
I would never throw one out at this age for the pasterns, but certainly at a later age.
Yes.
Especially if this puppy, whenever you set him up, if this was set on like it was coming out of his chin, the whole thing was just a plumb line, like a straight to the ground, that would be so offensive, I wouldn't even grow it up.
Right. Sometimes they go through a growth spurt and they go up on the pasterns too. Some puppies grow unevenly.
How long are you keeping these puppies?
They're
leaving this week.
We're not keeping any of these puppies.
Okay, just wondered.
I like his smiling lips.
I like it.
I never really get this with the pigment on the nose. His has taken a long time to come in.
Yeah, it's okay.
It was very pink earlier. I really never had that much.
That wouldn't concern me at all.
No.
They don't mind your nose.
No.
Here, you want to take this?
So Karen Lee, Do you find that like your crew? I've had pups that grew front legs, then back legs, or back legs, then front legs, and sometimes when you look at them, you have to walk away and just pretend you didn't see it.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. I think that generally speaking, I run into that between 8 months and 10 months, especially on male puppies. My mother, who of course was a great mentor, always said that sometimes with certain male puppies, that you should treat them, and this is horrible, but like field caps, put them in a sack and feed them through a hole from 9 months to 12 months, and then take them out at the end and see what you really have. Literally, it's just a figure of speech. But I have had puppies go very out of balance older than that they might just sort of grow all leg and then lengthen out, go up on leg again, lengthen out. But when I'm looking at puppies between 8 and 12 weeks, I kind of like to see them grow very consistently and evenly front to rear and be easy to set up. If they're hard to stack and you can never get a good picture of this puppy you think is so beautiful, there's usually a reason why.
I agree.
Agree with that fully. Because the photos, if you can't get a good photo, you can get a good photo of the bad one. So if you can't get a good photo of a good one, it's not good.
It's that whole thing of a ploppable puppy. You just throw them on the table, let them stand on their own. They should look balanced and decent, even if you're not getting maximum neck or baiting.
Oh, the white ones are always the good ones.
This puppy has a long tail. I'm going to mute myself now.
Is this another boy? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is the last boy. This one reminds me more of the first two.
Yeah.
He has more substance and bulk to the forefront of him, I think.
No neck.
Yeah, no neck, because he has all of that heaviness in the front.
Yeah. Where'd that no neck come from?
Their mother has no neck.
Okay.
Not that much neck. The mother is like, she is the, what is the mother? She's out of the Oscar, Portuguese Oscar, and by him, and out of, anyway, we can cut the pedigree on. Regardless, the mother I kept, that was Oscar's first litter, because she was so well made. I mean, really, she's like super purely made. The front's beautiful.
But she lacks a lot of elegance.
The back leg is beautiful. She is a chunk. She's not a super elegant bitch. She's got a very pretty head, but she doesn't have much neck or a lot of elegance. Just good, pure kind of conformation. But her genes are coming through. Definitely on the necks and the. I think you'll have to go on the other side, or I can turn it.
Can you?
If this one is slipping outside, then that's bothering.
It's a chunky.
Looks good.
1 second. Anybody want to see another side or anything of this one? Any comment?
To me, the first two look like each other. The third and fourth one look like each other, and this one looks in between both groups, both the other two pairs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can see a little of that heaviness in him at the front and the ones with the shorter neck look like they have that, a little more of the bulk in the front.
Yeah.
And Yet he has a better top line, I think. He doesn't drop off as quickly.
And
To me, he's in between the first two and the second two.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, he's fascinated by himself on this. Who's that? I think he has an attractive head. This puppy.
oh yeah.
It's hard for us to see the head though, because you can't see the eyes really.
It's so blurry and it's dark.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we ready to see the little girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna be fine.
Gosh, I'd love to have a whole pile of just best in show ribbons. Like
I was just looking at those.
corner, just laying there.
Yeah, just casually draped over.
It's like, oh gosh, where are we gonna put these?
It's like a subtle flex.
Dang, this one is fun.
I know.
Oh.
This is a party on wheels. Oh wow, I really like her. I just want to get out my paintbrush and redo this whole thing.
It looks good, actually.
No! Now, I like her a lot. Her markings are awful.
I think our pasterns are the best
Aren't
of
we
the lot.
supposed to not look at markings, Karen?
We're not, but you have to show to actual judges.
Yeah,
No, they're
for
biased.
sure. She's very balanced.
This is a nice puppy.
Oh my God, she's pretty.
Poor thing.
Don't
She
look at her
looks like
face.
somebody went drive by with a paintball gun.
I think her markings are bizarre.
They are really. She's really, really nice.
Yeah, she's the nicest one.
Sure reminds me of the painted pony dog.
When you had Karen, that beautiful bitch that was kind of, she had sort of a funny splotchy marking. The red bitch. What was her name?
Which Karen?
The one with the guy in South America that had the.
Annabelle?
Yes, she was.
Sanibel was nicely marked on the show side. No,
Didn't she have kind of a splashy marking though?
she was splashy. This is very random.
Look at the head.
Really nicely well-made puppy to me.
Yeah.
Really like bone structure. I like this one the best overall. I haven't seen her head, fine details of her head marking. What happened here? This is sabotage.
Oh, and the white eyelashes really make
This
it.
is a puppy I would keep and send to Justin and Cheslie just so I could finish. And then breed it.
But the black might fade.
Eventually, like at 5.
So put her away till then.
She's the best one. I think she's the best one in the litter by far.
She is the best one.
Yeah.
If we didn't have to deal with dog shows.
I mean, but
You might not have to.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. This is a really lovely puppy. She does remind me of Sanibel. Only not quite as brilliantly marked on the show side. I would totally breed this
Her
puppy.
pasterns are good.
Yeah, she's really nice.
Andy, we need this. Here's what. We need that.
she's really pretty.
This is
The
so
right person on the
educational.
end of the lead, it won't matter.
Yeah, you should have been there when we pulled her out. I was like, what is that?
It's a
You don't
beagle.
look like anything
Beauty
in your
mark.
brain. What the heck?
Trash cans all tipped over, something out of it.
Oh my goodness.
Has anyone ever seen one with a head marking like this?
Never.
Never.
No, it is, like I said, it's just random.
And all those boys have such nice wide blazes.
Will she throw that weird marking
You breed
again?
her to dogs that are solid or Irish marked and only dominant for that. If they carry any white, no. We get lovely puppies from her. I can work with this, but I have to send it to Justin to be finished.
It would be a fun.
And she really, what do you think this, I don't know if anyone can see the color. It's got that beautiful dark.
Watermark.
She's watermark.
I like the watermark boy too.
Oh, I like her spring of rib. So far I like the first meal you put on the table the best and her. Although I'm crying of her markings.
It actually would be a fun experiment to see how fast we could finish her or how slow.
Oh, I think she'd finish fast if she was well shown. I do think you can see the quality.
Who are you going to get to do that?
If she's a good mover, that's what we'd have no idea. You know, she's prancing like My Little Pony, who cares? But if
she's going to be a nice mover.
Yeah. This is a beautifully made puppy. She's got a beautiful neck into shoulder. She's nice everywhere.
And you know what? I don't like. You can just barely see that color.
Yes.
Right here, and it makes that look so abrupt.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're not. It's the other side that's the issue.
I'll take the abrupt side.
I actually think that her head marking would be the most difficult about it.
Definitely.
About showing her because that's weird.
I think it's cute. It's grown on me.
She has actually a cute
If
face.
I hadn't been so horrified and promised her to someone as a puppy, I would keep her.
It's like her black mask kind of like slipped upwards, you know, like instead of wearing it where she's supposed to wear it, it kind of like rode up on her forehead.
And then around the eye is white.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Take a magic marker and mark her properly.
I think it's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
I've seen a puppy that has a very similar marking, except it goes across the whole face, but it's the same marking, very similar marking. What's that?
Yeah. Yeah, oddly, this puppy would work better as a solid black mask fawn.
Like that, you can see.
I like this better than solid black mask.
Well, that's because you're a handler.
I don't know. It was really weird.
Just wait till her face grays out a little.
Yeah, it's only 7 or 8 years until her specials career can begin.
No biggie.
I really like her. I want you to go for it, Justin. I want to see her in the ring.
Hey, we may be able to do it, but
you know what?
The best ones mature slow, Karen.
This is where the rubber meets the road on who the best handlers and the best judges really are. It's when you can have a good handler walk in the ring with a dog marked like that, and the judge will put it up. That's how you know
the judge would point to those markings.
I think
don't
all
know.
the judges would point to it.
Oh,
they would love it.
That's what I'm thinking about it.
She's really pretty.
She would be really hard to forget, that's for sure.
Well, if you put one ad in Dog News, nobody will ever forget her.
Exactly. Exactly.
Color immaterial.
Markings immaterial. I love her. I think she's awesome. Go for it. Go for it.
And she's leaving on the first, so I guess it's not gonna happen.
Can I see the first boy again?
I want to see the other white dog again.
So splotchy marked.
Yeah, that's him.
The last one we did, or
The third one. The third one.
Yeah.
One in the watermark boy.
Right.
Looking for but takes on.
Oh, she's cute. I'm sorry. She's cute. That face is growing on me. That little white around that one eye is a hoot.
Your pet people would do a bidding war on that one.
Oh, absolutely.
They
Because
think
it's
it's
different.
wonderful, and now I've sort of grown attached to her, and I wish I hadn't promised her. But when she, when she was little, I thought, oh, I would never keep this one. Now I wish we had.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
He's going to 2 professors in upstate New York.
Oh.
Oh, well.
Hey.
Mm.
What do you think about
They're going to send you a picture of that puppy when she's like 8 years old, and you're going to go, man, I really blew this. I totally blew it.
Well, it won't be the first
It
time.
happens to all of us, Justin.
Karen said they're going to send me a picture, and I'm going to have blown it.
I have. Pretty bad.
We should take a picture of her for judge's education before she leaves. This is never gonna
Please. Yes, yes.
Yes, I love him. Look at him.
He's a lot better, like on the ground. Like
This is the only one that I have to say that you guys cannot see the puppy because he's not
behaving.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him.
Tail.
I like him.
Much like the girl.
He's my fave of the boys, for sure.
He's my favorite boy.
I like him.
Me too.
Well, I'm glad we are all on
There. Oh.
Now, who wanted to see this one again? You should be here stacking.
I wanted to see him again.
I can't cross the border at the moment.
Oh.
We were professional.
You get the idea. He looks like.
I like him the
Where's
best of
his
boys.
face? Do a close-up of his face, Justin.
What?
Do a close-up of his face. We didn't get a close-up with him.
Oh.
Yep, I like him.
What? He doesn't go like extreme, like fall off on the ground. He looks fine.
He's happy.
He's a noodle.
Put your feet on the counter.
Justin, which one is your favorite boy?
If you can see this one, for sure him.
Yeah, I like him too.
You can't make him look like a purebred.
There.
There he is.
Proportions.
Okay, I thought it was a split second, but
Was.
There you go. Stop trying to move. Flop.
you got him
Yep.
trying. Yeah.
He was.
Is he
Justin's-
going in the ring?
No, they're leaving.
No. But I think
He was. This was Justin's favorite a couple weeks ago when we were looking at him, but he's kind of awfully marked.
Oh. I like him.
Tail. Yeah,
Hey, do you guys have any availability? Because I'm getting slammed down here in Florida, honestly. I'd love to send some people to you if you need any pet homes at all.
At the moment I don't, but if we do, I'll write you.
Please do. I think your puppies are great. I love what you've done here and shared them with us.
No problem.
Yeah, how fun.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Is a sire the pajama? I don't remember his whole registered name, but the black brindle and white dog that you have that's like
Yeah,
he
that's
was
the sire.
dog in Denver. Is that the sire?
Yeah.
Pajama party.
Pajama party. Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah, he was the reserve winner's dog at the National in Colorado.
That is just what I said in Denver. Yes,
Wow.
yes. I remember him.
He is a handsome dog, good moving. He has a big heavy ear that on occasion he gives to the puppies, like a couple of these.
Mhm. Well, that might be a good choice for somebody who tend to have small, fine ears that fly.
Yeah. He's a great mover, beautiful foot timing.
Yeah, I really like that dog, so I'm interested to see.
These are really is a mix of the two of them. But
Well, like this
I would be
puppy
proud.
and some of the others, I have to say I wouldn't recognize them from their pedigree at all. They look like they come from a whole different kennel name breeding program. Some of them do and some of them don't. But I think that this is a great litter to talk about from a grading standpoint. And I think that the puppy you're holding right now of the males is probably the best show prospect for the United States. I think that the first puppy overall is probably the most correct per the breed standard overall. And I think in terms of the males, and I think that the bitch, minus her bizarre markings, is the best overall puppy in the litter. How do you feel about that ranking?
I feel the same.
Okay, good.
Exactly the same. Wait, what did you say about the big male?
The big male, the first male, I would say is probably the most correct overall per the standard internationally. I think the one you're holding now for the United States of the males is the one I think is the best for our country for showing. You had another one that was more sparsely brindled on the judge's side. That would be an easy dog from a professional handler standpoint, but not as correct.
Right.
And then overall, the bitch who is bizarrely marked is the most correct overall of the whole litter.
I think, to me, she's about 4 or 5 notches better than any of the boys.
Okay. I'm sorry, say that again.
I would make the bitch like several notches above the boys.
Okay, I agree with that. I think she's the best puppy in the whole litter. I'm talking about ranking the boys.
Yeah, I think she's so excels in the points that you would look at this age. She doesn't have anything that you're like, except for the color and material.
Yeah, it's the bizarre markings. Other than that, she's wonderful.
Yeah, if I look at her, if we were evaluating them, just fresh without a crowd, I would just say, this is it. Rest.
What a wonderful illustration of color and markings and material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
I think a lot of that black on her
extent.
face will clear out.
Yeah.
And it will turn lighter colored.
She has a pretty head.
If you guys had been looking at her like we have for 9 weeks, you sort of do forget it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but judges have like less than 2 minutes.
I know, Karen, I really wish, if she hadn't been sold, I would love to show her because I think it would be a good thing to show.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to see you try it too. I like her a lot. I would like to think if I was a judge, I could get past that easily and quickly.
Mm-hmm. But so much depends on the movement. We got to see.
Are we done?
That was fun. I wish there were 10 more.
Yeah, don't you have something else you can put up there?
Who else has puppies?
That's plenty of poop to pick up.
I really appreciate you guys for doing this. I think it's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Who's next?
Who's doing it next week?
We can maybe do one in like 10 weeks or something.
Yeah, give us 8 to 10 weeks. We might have a new one.
Yeah.
Round 2.
I have something due on Mother's Day weekend, but I'm hoping we're not quite so sequestered by the time they're old enough to plop on a table. Who knows?
That's what, the 10th or something?
Is that Gators puppies?
Yeah, Gators puppies and Khaleesi.
We've got Donna Bennett. She's got a litter right now that are 6 weeks old. She's offered them up. And then Lorraine Birch has a litter of 2-week-olds that she's offered as well.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, even if you aren't sequestered, this is an easy way for a lot of people to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puppy party.
Years ago, I remember when I lived in Seattle and I was first getting involved as a Whippet breeder, that bands of us would sort of like get together and we'd all go to somebody's house when they had puppies that were like 7-8 weeks old. And we'd have this little puppy party as like Western Washington Whippet Association. And we just like all go and look at each other's puppies. And the breeders who'd been doing it longer would talk about the puppies and the new people would put in their impressions. And I just don't see a lot of that happening these days. I think that this might end up being something very positive for dogs if we can start doing things like this virtually. We'll be duplicating the experiences that I had when I was starting out as a breeder and trying to learn how experienced breeders graded litters. I think it's fantastic.
Puppy parties were always one of my favorite things because and with this, seeing puppies from around the country and different breeders, start to see how different lines develop.
Exactly.
And when you cross into other lines and you have a puppy and you're looking at it going, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with this, and you place it in a pet home and it bites you in the butt, all because it grows differently, this should help people understand more how different lines grow.
True. And at least 25% of the time, even the best breeders screw up, and they either put a really good puppy in a pet home that might turn out really well later and they have regrets, or they grade something as show and it doesn't pan out. You know, you're all still making that educated guess, but at least it's educated.
Yep.
Did you say this is very international as well, as because, you know, Oscar comes from the UK, so he's in that background, right?
Portugal.
He's kind of all over the place. He's got a lot of sporting fields back there too, and I'm seeing that here.
That first puppy reminded me of Oscar.
Yeah.
The first one.
And I bred to Oscar, and I liked my litter.
Yeah, we liked her. We had a small litter, only 4 puppies, but we kept 50% of them. So
I had 6. And I would say he did everything I wanted him to do, but you don't always get in every puppy the kind of American neck length.
I agree with that one.
Because they don't care as much in Europe about that. It doesn't make them lesser dogs. It's just a different perspective on the breed.
So Justin, sorry, just because we have a mix of some really experienced people and some not so experienced people, can you just kind of walk us through your process when you start to assess the litter?
Well, I think that it's like most things, like learning to read. You know, once you do it, you're kind of doing it all the time. If you just glance at something, you're kind of assessing it. So Cheslie and I will start stacking them on occasion from the time they're old enough to stack. And then I think you also, as I'm sure anyone else here feels, have to see them on their own trotting around a bit, because you really can't see maybe that much about the movement when they're little, but you certainly can see some things. And as you kind of go, like I think it was Karen was talking about that picture, the more and more ploppable ones continue to stand out. That when you put them down, the feet are in the right place, and those things like that one with a strange back leg. I mean, that I really just saw that tonight. That was the first time I'd really seen that on that puppy, and that is just total you're out kind of thing. I would, as you keep, we try to get down to what would you say? 2? We try to get down to 2 or
well, we usually
3.
around this age, like we'll keep our 2 favorites and then keep growing them. Like, you know, maybe don't look at them for a while, and then
I really try.
You know, you just train them and work with them, and then see what we think.
We really try to not look at them. Because
I think when you're looking at them all the time from when they're born, and you're looking at them, and they change so much. So to me, it's easier to look at somebody else's 9-week puppies and pick the best ones than my own, because all those things stick in your mind of what you've seen in them from birth, and it jumbles the whole picture more.
I agree. And also, you cannot be a fool to your own photos, because we take photos all the time of them, and my God, they look like they're gonna. I mean, look out! We got one coming, and then you see it like in person. It looks like, you know, dinosaur.
But I think it's hard. I think that's why you have to keep keep your 2. We usually keep 2 or 3, the ones that look good, and then reevaluate and let.
And there's always someone that wants a 4-month-old Whippet, so it's not like you've lost anything by keeping it.
Exactly.
Yes, right now, there's a market for any age Whippet.
Right, you can have a 3-legged Whippet.
Yes.
But we have decided that we really don't know much, and that we really have to keep them.
That's a sobering thought, considering what all you guys have accomplished over the last 6 or 7 or 8 years.
I'm gonna tell you, if we had this puppy party, everyone in this right now would have said bourbon was at the least. I mean, just out the door. Out the door. Wow. Whiskey was so far above all the other ones. He was an immediate keeper. We liked certain things about, but she would have never appealed to a general audience, and that's why you have to grow up. I mean,
she was like,
you have to put a photo up of her at 8 weeks and see if that's true.
I have it.
She looks like a red IG.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And ever since that, because Whiskey was always like, whenever they were born, I was like, that one I'm keeping. And then we kept the bitch as just to keep multiple, because I do think it's nice to raise two together.
It is.
Not have a single puppy. So we kept her, and then when she was about 5 or 6 months old, I had a home for a puppy, and Cheslie had been working with her, and I said, well, let's take her out in the yard and see what she looks like. She sort of made one half pass, and I just turned around and said, no, we're keeping her. And that was that. And we didn't really dwell on it that much more from then on. But when she was little, she would not have passed a panel of experts like this as a keeper.
At this age, absolutely.
And so after that, we are really doing our best to not throw out everything that we think might not.
I don't let any go at 8 weeks. I wait till, I think 10 is better, and longer is better than that, you know? So I just.
And the longer, when people want a show dog, it's like, well, buy one that just won. That's what you need.
Exactly.
So hard.
Absolutely.
Take them from the bottom. Let the least desirable go first, and just keep going from the bottom up.
Yeah, I mean, if they have one nut or a blue eye, that's easy.
You're
I think
almost
second puppy you put on the table has to be a pet. Has to be. That fawn male has to be.
I agree. That's
with a super black mask.
Leslie had an ID number.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we'll put that. Have you got it on your phone? I don't know if they could see it if you pull up on your phone her picture.
I can post it to the group.
People will die. It'll make you think, why did I sell all those puppies? I should have kept them.
That's the whole thing. I mean, that's what makes breeding so difficult is, I think a lot of the talent can be in picking puppies. It's so hard. I think some people have a really good knack for that as well, especially in a breed like this, that there's so many of them. Like in my breed Papillons, there's only 2 in the litter, so hopefully you can know which one's better.
It's so easy for anyone to look at the negatives. It's to see that sort of overall virtue that might have a little star power.
Yep.
Or potential.
Because it's so easy to just go through and say, that one's got this one's got that, this one's got this. They're all out. But if you see which one has a little sparkle, that might change your mind a little bit.
Yep.
But I think you're really critical.
Yeah, I am extremely critical.
Oh my.
So
he doesn't like anything of ours. He loves everyone else's. Anything we have, it's like, oh, they gotta go.
When you live with them, you see the things you don't like about them. When you see them in the show ring in a flash, you don't have to, you're not looking for that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh damn, I wish I had that one at home. Like,
and then you get it home and you go, why did I want that one? I don't know.
I know I've had a little buyer's remorse in my life. Yeah, I've laid awake.
Not with Cheslie.
That I wish I didn't.
It's so funny though, like when you make your initial assessment and you keep a couple and then you grow them up and they're 4 or 5 months old and then you are looking at them another one day and it's just like, nope. What are we doing?
Why have we been feeding you?
Not feed you tonight. You're going.
No.
Let them sort themselves out.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is.
It's not easy to
that horribly marked bitch has a really nice finish to the end of her muzzle. I'm just saying.
I love that. I love that.
More underjaw than any of them.
I love her. I love that.
Yes.
She's so funky.
She is so funky.
So breed disqualifications aside, what is your biggest nope, not doing it, done, petted?
Bad neck set.
Yeah.
Bad top line.
That, obviously all those other things come into play, but to me, like that, if I'm sitting at watching a class of dogs, like if one's got a low tie-in, it's done to me.
Yeah.
It would have to be so unbelievably exceptional otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's just my own little hang up. That doesn't mean I would hang a breeding program on a neck set, but that is one thing I will not keep.
Well, the neck set intersects with so many other aspects of the dog's overall construction in that area too.
Yeah. Yeah, the the top line, the shoulder. Yeah.
But we're not the experts.
Right.
There's a lot of
That's
other
our
people on
opinion.
the
Yeah,
on
that's-
this.
Now, I'm looking at a bunch of Best in Show ribbons piled in the corner, y'all. So do not go there with me right now. Do
It's
not.
got to be the most subtle flex I've ever seen.
No, no kidding. You know, for me, I would say overall, if you have a pretty overall decent dog, I just don't ever want to see dogs in the ring that look unhappy, that they don't want to be there. You know, that's the deal breaker for me.
It is genetic too, I think.
It definitely is genetic. And we haven't talked about that here because we're talking about puppies and bone structure, but you know, part of being a good show dog is you have to like it. And I don't like to see anybody force a dog into the ring that's clearly unhappy to be there. And one of the things I love about Justin and Cheslie and the dogs that they show is that every dog that they show looks like that they're happy in the ring. At least that they're calm and contented. But they don't have to show like poodles on crank, but they have to not look miserable and scared. And that to me is my deal breaker.
Yeah, because the poodle and crack look is really not typical of the breed.
No, it's not.
I think that's almost as distasteful at times, even though we all like to show dogs that are showy. That expecting that is just as detrimental as anything.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that's made whiskey and bourbon so appealing to so many people is that, even, you know, whatever your style preference is, your dogs always tend to look like that they're just calm, they're happy, they're biddable, they're ready to do what you ask them to do, and that they're liking to be there. And that's really important in a show dog, regardless of pastern or tail carriage or all the other things we get bogged down in.
It is easy to get bogged down.
Yes.
Well, I think a happy dog uses themselves better, so they just automatically make them look better, even if it's not as good of a dog. If you have an unhappy dog, his top line usually looks poor, tail set doesn't look good.
Evaluate one that's really miserable.
Mhm. Can we see the female again?
Better way than that. I like her.
Her front is really pretty.
There's markings.
She is very ploppable.
She is. She just went right into it.
Yep.
Nice shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
There it is.
Yeah, really pretty.
You can do all dog shows this way.
Yep. Dog show.
That would be nice.
What?
Do dog shows. Go. He's like, I've had.
You definitely wouldn't forget her.
I know. She's got a trademark. Look at that.
Almost like a black handprint went on her face.
It's like a splot.
Yeah.
Ball.
I took notes and I literally called her splotch face.
She's got a comb over. That's all.
She's a Rorschach test for judges.
There you go.
What do you see when you look at this? Hopefully a good whippet and not a butterfly.
It's funny.
I was sort of, as they were growing up and we were watching them trot around, you know, always for anyone, no matter I think their level of expertise, if they had a couple litters, the good ones start sort of, you catch them as they go by. And she kept, I mean, it was like every time we put them out,
Your eye
I
goes.
was like, oh, that one looks good.
Yep. Yep.
Do you have any video of them just moving around in the yard that you can share later?
No. We have some from like above, just cute ones when they're chasing Cheslie or something.
Of course. Yeah.
We don't have any. We're not that.
Time to negotiate a different puppy for those professors, maybe.
I know.
Where is
But
she
there's-
going?
she's going to upstate New York.
Aw.
They got a plane ticket.
Oh,
I hope she can fit in a
that's
Sherpa.
nice.
She'll be fine.
Aw.
Well, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate this. I'm glad everybody seems to have enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're happy to do it again
Yeah.
in a 10 weeks or so.
Out of the gate, it's coronavirus.
What was that?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Lots of fun.
Thank you to Julie as well for setting this up.
Thanks,
Thank
Julie.
you, Julie. Thanks for
Let's do it
inviting us
again.
Canadians.
Very much.
Next time.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to hang up, you guys. So.
The bottom corner, it says leave
Okay.
meeting.
I see it. Bye, guys.